Good evening, everyone. Today is the 3rd of September 2020 at or approximately 8:30 p.m. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and or my Facebook page, whichever one you're following me on. Many of you know me, know what I've been through, know what I've experienced, and many of you, well, I can't say that actually, I would say many people I've helped along my way and along my path that I never knew, probably never will know. As a firefighter, fire rescue, EMT, hazardous materials specialist, I've responded to many calls. Many of you know me on a personal level, but I know what my friends list looks like, and I would probably say 75% of my friends on Facebook that are following me are pretty much all around the world. I know some in Australia, I know some in Germany, I know some in England, I know some in Scotland, I know many here in the United States. I know several in passing in the Philippines, and I would venture to say probably 95% of my friends list that is following my videos and my posts and my pictures are quote-unquote living vicariously through my pictures and through my knowledge that I'm offering to everyone. On one hand, I don't claim to be clairvoyant or intuitive. There are several other individuals that are making that claim of me, only because of what I see, what I hear, what I feel, and so on, and what I've experienced in my own personal life due to at least 6 near-death experiences. The first near-death experience was back in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s actually, when I was involved in a car fire and I was burnt over 15% of my entire body, first, second, and third degree and full thickness burns. That was when I experienced my first near-death experience in the hospital. Well, before that was in the ambulance because of the fire. They lost me in the ambulance. They lost me at the hospital. They then life-flighted me from one hospital to UC Davis Medical Center. They lost me in the helicopter. They lost me in the surgery room. And when I was in recovery, or actually in my own room after recovery the next morning, I was able to explain to the doctor everything that had happened to me in the surgery room, the layout of the surgery room, where everyone was doing. And that was because of the spiritual entity of my body, or my spiritual self, detached from the physical body and was watching what was going on from the outside. Many people say that near-death experiences are what actually triggers the clairvoyance or the intuitive abilities in one's own mind. And at that point, some people say, well, is it a curse or is it a gift? I guess it all depends upon what it is that you see and what it is that you hear and how you accept it. People warn me about the dark side of life. I've seen both sides of life. I've seen both sides of death. And I'm not afraid of either side. I'm a strong believer in God. I've been born and raised as a Christian, Baptist. During the near-death experiences, when one experiences those instances, you see, feel, and hear things that you cannot explain. And when you come back to the physical level of existence, you look at life in a whole new perspective. So when people tell me that me being clairvoyant or intuitive is on the demonic side, I kind of sit back and rebuke that statement quite firmly. When people tell me I'm practicing witchcraft or the dark side of the arts because I'm clairvoyant, because I'm intuitive, what some people should probably do is read Luke 10:23 and Luke 10:24. It mentions clairvoyance and intuitive and whatnot in the Bible, the King James Version. I've looked at this and I've been through this a minimum of 7 times from front to back, from page to page, to word. So when somebody starts quoting me the Bible, it comes to my mind where it says that you should basically not take one word or subtract one word from the Bible or from the scriptures. And also, in turn, it indicates that you should not add to or subtract from the gospel. I don't claim to be perfect. Never have, never will. I don't claim to know the Bible word for word. But when I want to find something, that's where I go for the answers. God gives me the answers because I ask for the answers. If many of you remember, it says, "Ask and ye shall receive." The sections that I was looking for exactly was Luke 10:19 and 10:23 N1024 to address this subject matter. I'm not going to read it word for word, but if you're actually interested, I'm sure that if you're interested, you probably already have a Bible. I'm not trying to convert anyone to Christianity, away from any religious belief, because I have, as of yet, have not found any religion that actually practices what it preaches. So I'm not going to be the one that says any religion is right or any religion is wrong. I will say there is a creator of everything. There is a God of all God and a King of all kings over everything and everybody. I strongly believe in ask and ye shall receive, because there's nothing that I can think of that I haven't asked for that God hasn't provided to me. And because I have various different pieces of art around my home, please don't tell me I have demonic engraving images in my home, because to me all it is a piece of artwork, a rock, a stone, a painting, a picture, a ceramic, whatever it is. If it's in my home, it's because I like the style and the design. If you look at science, I agree that many aspects of science is true. And they usually back it up with numbers and statistics and this research and that research. But the one thing they can't explain is why, when a human body stops functioning and quote-unquote dies, why does it lose approximately 7 pounds, or 7 grams, I believe it is, 7 grams of weight? I personally believe it's because of the spiritual body separating from the physical body. Everything has mass, all the way down to the smallest atom and quark, which you can't see without an electron microscope. You can't see an atom, and a quark is even smaller than an atom, but it's still there, and it still vibrates. How many billion quarks would it take to assemble a fob, or not a fob, stylist? Yet this is something that man made, consists of probably hundreds of thousands of electrons, neutrons, protons, atoms, quarks, so on and so forth. I'm no physicist, so I can't quote the exact terminology, but I think you grasp the concept. when I start teaching clairvoyance, metaphysics, intuitive ability, as far as I'm concerned, that's because God wants me to. And hopefully, by doing so, will help some individuals become more enlightened into the spiritual aspect of life. Because physically, we're here on this level of existence. When the physical body dies and ceases to exist and ceases to function, there is an energy, a spiritual energy, that will separate from the physical body. And you say, why or how do I know? That's because I did it many times over, including 3 heart attacks. I asked to come back to this level of existence because I had things to wrap up and things to take care of. And 2 kids and a wife. And he granted that request. Whether that was at that time, whether that was Jesus, or whether that was God, or whether that was an archangel, or who it was, granted that request. So there is nothing that is going to interfere in my life with my wife and my family and my friends that I don't want to, or God doesn't want to. My friend and I will be teaching metaphysics, mental telepathy, clairvoyance, intuitive ability, telekinesis, remote viewing. Now, my friend is one of the founders, developers of remote viewing project that was taught and learned successfully in the 60s. I've already mentioned it before in one of my other videos, and I've already mentioned the name. But there's going to be a picture of me with a Rootbeer Onyx skull along with this video that I named, and the reason I named this piece of artwork was because that name came to mind while I was looking at him. I have no idea where the name came from. I never studied any form of mythology in regards to Olympian gods or demigods, but Deucalion came to mind. I had no clue as to what that meant. So when it came to mind, I wrote it down. Deucalion. Duke the Lion, or Deucalion. I then Googled the name and it came up with Greek mythology. Greek mythology indicated that Deucalion was the individual that stepped between Prometheus and mankind from destroying mankind. And Deucalion is the father of Pandora, according to Greek mythology. And ever since I've named that item, actually it's a Rootbeer Onyx hand-carved skull. The onyx itself was transported from Brazil down to Peru. And there was a master carver that then carved the skull out of the Rootbeer Onyx. From there it came to Sacramento, and that was where I picked it up. And I am now the owner of a 50-pound Rootbeer Onyx skull. From what I'm to understand, it's one of the largest ones in North America. I'm to understand because of the Rootbeer Onyx and amethyst geode, it is one of a kind. And for those of you that study geology and gemology, you will know that everything actually maintains a vibratory rate. If you're old enough to remember a crystal radio, one of those little boxes that you put together in a electronics class with a little crystal diode, you'll know that everything vibrates. I can guarantee you that the amethyst crystal, or the amethyst geode that I have, is 100 pounds of amethyst. And it does maintain a very strong vibratory rate. This Rootbeer Onyx skull, it does vibrate. And every gem, every stone, every rock has a vibratory rate. And those of you that are into metaphysics or clairvoyance or being intuitive knows exactly what I'm talking about. I've been practicing and studying metaphysics since I started taking martial arts classes in transcendental meditation and relaxation. That was when I started learning transcendental meditation and astral projection back in the 70s and 80s. That's now been 40-something years. So when somebody tells me I'm working on the dark side, please don't go there. I do believe strongly in karma, and what you send at me, please, I really prefer it not to be sent back at you. So looking at and cursing me for my lifestyle, my belief, and my experiences, matter of fact, and my unwavering belief in God, please don't go there. We will be teaching various different classes, very methodically, very systematically, and that is based on the Stargate project as well as my experiences and classes that I've taken at other different facilities, as well as classes that I've taken from my friend. My video is just about maxed out, and it just warned me that I'm running out of space. So I will have to continue this on another video. Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you know when I post my next video. And I hope and pray you have a blessed weekend. Thank you.